and shift to baseball here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's talk about pitching. And I'm going to talk a little bit about pitching here. Let's do our baseball.
Oh, put me in cold. I'm ready to play.
All right. So we're talking about starting pitcher. I'm going to name the top 10 starting pitchers in MLB. But let me tell you something right now. The Tommy John thing is way out of hand. This is the second straight year I've had to move somebody off the list because of Tommy John surgery that's being done. It's crazy. Look, any of these rock throwers, we have to get back to having pitchers that actually know how to pitch, leave something in the tank, stay ready. I mean, I think, and I'm going to get to Grayson too, because I think he's going to be going for Tommy John at some point. You already don't have Bradish for Tommy John. You got Spencer Strider with Tommy John. You got Shohei Ohtani has had two Tommy John. Like, come on. Let's do something, man. This is crazy. I mean, I watched baseball all my life. And look, baseball, even more than football, was the first sport I watched 40 long time ago, because Baltimore had a team. We didn't have a football team. Certainly if you're my age. Like, the Tommy John is crazy. How many guys? Not on this list. Spencer Strider, Tommy John. He still isn't back yet. Felix Batista, just I don't. It's crazy. It's not just starters either. It's relievers too. So we gotta do something. We gotta do something about this. I almost hate to even bring that up right before that, because I feel like I don't want to diminish this, because these are guys who are outstanding in their own right, that will be on the mound as far as we know here at the start. But Garrett Cole was on here and took him off because of Tommy John. Tommy John is just way out of hand in Major League Baseball. All right, so let's get to it. Top 10 starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. Chris Sale. Boy, the Red Sox have got to be just brokenhearted from what they've seen with Chris Sale. Here's another guy, injury issues. Tommy John, a lot of stuff. Chris Sale. Chris Sale was fantastic last year. Chris Sale is back to being what we know him as before. Had so many years subpar, no wins, 22, 6 wins, 23. Starting out as an ace, he had his tremendous production last year, 18-3, 238. He is 35 years old. He is on a good team, so I do worry about that a little bit as far as putting him higher than where he is. But I think Sale, having him there, I'm definitely happy with that. Chris Sale, having him at 10. Number 9, Aaron Nola. Look, the reason why the Phillies are so good is they've had two solid, very solid, healthy starting pitchers. Aaron Nola, not quite as good last year. ERA about 3.57, 14 wins. But Nola has been as steady as they come the last 3-4 years. Definitely he deserves to be in the top 10. He's won 17 games before. Good for a long time. So Nola, ERA under 4, just got to keep him healthy on a very good Phillies team. I definitely have him in the top 10. Some people do disagree, but I love Nola. I think he's fantastic. He's at number 9. Number 8, Logan Webb for the Giants. I think he's the best player on the Giants, period, anywhere. 13-10 last year, 3.47 ERA. Logan Webb, I think, is as steady as they come. Not this guy who has, 110-mile-an-hour fastball or anything like that. Kind of what we're talking about. One of these guys knows how to pitch, knows how to pitch as well. Very much throwback to the old days. Ground ball, strong changeup. I definitely do like Logan Webb. There, he's number 8. Webb, I think, is as strong as I think because he doesn't throw super hard. I think he's less talked about. That's why I think like he's not as revered as he should be, considering all the success that he's had. But I got Logan Webb, number 8. Number 7, Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros. Framber Valdez last year, a lot of people, I hear more people say that he's not an ace. I really don't understand that. The stats are there. I mean, he was 15-7 last year. He had 2.91 ERA. ERA's been under 3, has been under 3.5. I think like 4 straight years now. Doesn't give up a lot of earned runs. Throws really hard. I think he doesn't always look the part. If you were to like do a movie and have an ace, he was more as a closer, but the sinker is very good. About 91, throws his curveball. I like Framber Valdez. I think probably it's definitely a sign though for the Astros. If they move him, that they are really going into rebuild mode and changing their team. Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. I think he's again kind of like the other Logan on the list, Logan Webb. I think underrated. He doesn't win as many games. I think you look at his quality starts. I am super duper impressed with how many quality starts that he consistently gets. He was 9-12 last year, ERA 3.23. I think that was more. He just didn't get the run support that he did. Before that, 13-6, 13-7, ERA under 3. I love Logan Gilbert. I think Logan Gilbert is going to be solid for many, many years as well. I think, too, if the Mariners can be a better team, I'm not sure they are. I think Gilbert can really do some damage. Throws hard. I mean, we know that. Again, you worry about him having Tommy John type surgery as well. Number 5, Cole Ragans of the Kansas City Royals. I kind of struggled where to put him a little bit because I think as good as he was last year, it's still a bit of a projection with him. But he's only 20. He's 27 years. People talk about him like he's 22 or 23. He's 27. So I do think he is going to get better and better, though. I definitely going to put that. But he was. I thought he was their best pitcher last year, along with Seth Lugo for the Royals last year. He is in a pitcher's park, so that helps. I think if you pitch in Kansas City, then you do better than you do if you do in New York or if you're in Boston or something like that. But his changeup is great. He can throw. He's not. I wouldn't call him a heater all the time, but definitely mixes his pitches very well. Got a little bit of the moves in him, I think. I see a little bit of Mike Mussina. He has it when he needs it, but he doesn't kill you all the time with the heat. A good guy to mix in pitches. Now we're to the elite. Now, this group here, if you're going to say one of these guys is number 1, I don't have any beef with that. Zach Wheeler, I think like that. Aaron Nola, I think, would be a number 1 pitcher, I think, on any other team without a Zach Wheeler or on this list. Zach Wheeler was terrific last year. 2.57 ERA, 16-7 last year. Wheeler, I think, has outstanding command of his pitches. Outstanding. Wheeler actually, again, the mix of the power, the mix of the power, and the mix of the knowing how to pitch. Sweeper to the arsenal. I think he's fantastic. He is 35 now, which is a bit of a concern. That's the only thing with that. But Wheeler, I think, is fantastic. I think definitely I have him at 4. Yes, I have him in an Orioles uniform anyway. Corbin Burnes for the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks are going to be really good. I think this is a much bigger pickup for the Diamondbacks than what people realize. Corbin Burnes, I think, is fantastic. Look, Oral fans, we saw it all last year with Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes is an ace. There's no question about it. He throws hard. He knows how to pitch. He pitches efficiently. He goes deep in games. I think some people, if you're going to nitpick, I think his fastball ticked down a little bit from when he was younger, but I'm not worried about that at all. ERA less than 3 last year. Highest ERA he's had in several years was 2023, where he was at 3.39. Less than 3. ERA under 3. 4 out of the last 5 years. 5 out of the last 7. He can pitch. Burnes is 3 on the list. Great pickup for the Diamondback. Big loss for the Orioles. Potential. If you're going to have guys ahead of Corbin Burnes, why not have Paul Skeens, who I think might be the new Roger Clemens. Every time I see him, there's no such thing as you watch a game without Skeens just blowing everybody away. He was 11-3 last year. ERA 1.96. Insane. Like for a guy who was just pitching in the College World Series not that long ago. So I don't think there's any doubt with Skeens. He is only 22 years old. I think the only thing let's see. I don't think he's good. The only thing is I'm concerned is obviously with a lot of these pitchers, the Tommy John thing. But how can he do in a situation where he doesn't have his great stuff all the time? Because that's never been the case here so far. But I think Burnes, is fantastic. Can they keep him in Pittsburgh? That's the thing. Can you keep a guy that's this talented in Pittsburgh? But number one, I still have him at 2, because number one is Tarik Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. Look, there's a lot to like about Skubal. Skubal was 18-4 last year, 2.39 ERA. I don't think this guy's a can't miss. 28 years old. I think his is a little bit out of nowhere a bit. Like he was so good last year, but his fastball is in the mid-90s, throws very, very hard, throws a lot of heat, has a couple pitches. He's got a good changeup. I like his changeup. He's very good against right-handers, but he was absolutely deserving be on the list. Number one, Tarik Skubal. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. There you go. Tarik Skubal, number one pitcher in all of baseball. So very concerned about the Tommy John thing. Just very concerned about the Tommy John thing. It's too bad that we don't get to see pitchers pitch more. I don't know what we do about it though. I really wish I did. You see guys that can't even go even a Corbin Burnes, which you would consider a workhorse. Man, how many times did he even go into the 9th inning? Like maybe once or twice during the course of the year. So we'll see about that as well this season. Okay. One more segment. The Orioles spring training report. No good reason. You might as well play that one the way it's been because the injuries are just crazy right now for the Orioles. I mean, you would think there is a black cat or something right now. So let's start with Grayson. March 9th, he was diagnosed with elbow inflammation and got a cortisone shot per Brandon Hyde. Shut down for 7-10 days before a throwing program. He's going to be placed on the IL. That's per Andy Koska of Baltimore. They're not going to have Grayson at the start. I think they're going to have Tommy John for him. This is pretty much the same playbook we saw with Kyle Bradish last year. All of a sudden, his velocity was way down. then, well, he's got a cortisone shot. Well, he needs to be looked at. Well, we're going to see about it. And then we're going to do Tommy John surgery. And I think this is the route we're going to have. I think you are going to absolutely have to have him. You're going to have him have Tommy John. This is probably the biggest concern everybody kept telling me about a Felix Batista. I'll get to Felix Batista. This is the biggest concern I had about Grayson Rodriguez, because he has never pitched a full season healthy. He's never done it. So let's go ahead and see if we can get him back as well for this. Number 2, Andrew Kittredge on March 8th had a left knee. Hopefully I can say it right. Debridement. I don't think it's right. He told reporters, including Rockabacco at MassSports.com, the procedure was unsuccessful. So they are basically preparing themselves for months without Andrew Kittredge. So they're definitely not going to have him at all, I think, until the break. I don't think they do have a with Kittredge, they do have a contract for 1 year for $10 million with him. This is just a tough break. I mean, he was doing well in camp. And again, this is the injuries of these pitchers. It's just so disheartening to see all the time where these guys are consistently getting hurt in the lineup. So definitely, I don't think there is the conjecture is he's going to be weeks, and then some people saying it's going to be months. I don't think there's a confusion there. If they're saying it's months, it's months. So it's definitely that if they go ahead and do that, I don't think you're going to see him before the break. So some people are saying it's weeks, months. They said months. I think that's probably the way that's definitely going to go as well. Orioles must adjust their rotation in the short term because you're not going to have Rodriguez without Rodriguez. So this is the way it shapes up now. Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton, Timmy Sugano, Kramer have 4 spots. Suarez and Povich may take the foul spot ahead of Povich. Right now, I would say Suarez ahead of Povich as of now. I think Povich has looked decent during the spring. Interesting to see if he gets a spot. I think especially early in the year, you don't often use a 5th starter always in April. They would feel comfortable with Suarez. Suarez has been good, but we will see. Certainly, I think they're going to be also looking for pitchers. We'll get to that as well. Now, in light of that, Morton and Sagano have pitched 3 games without allowing a run. He's pitched 6 scoreless innings. 5K, 1 walk. Sagano, 7 shutout innings, 7 Ks, 2 walks, dominating versus the Twins. I think Sagano's looked really good during the spring. This is, again, I keep saying it about Japanese pitchers. Why do they do well early? There's no book on him. Like, he's got great stuff. He knows how to pitch. He's been around in Japan pitching for a long time, and he is a guy that no one knows yet. So definitely. Morton has been solid as well. Good at taking the ramp up. These 2 guys are okay. They're not studs. I know we all want some pitchers that do a little better, but these guys are okay. I think in a good offense, you can get some decent production out of your pitching here. Luis Gonzalez and Cade Stroud were assigned to minor league camp. Reassigned Jordan Adams, Raul Lantra, David Benos, Franklin Berrios, Dylan Coleman, Rafael Marquez, Tevin Vavra is an infielder. Tevin Vavra is not a pitcher. He's an infielder. Didn't have enough room on that graphic there. No surprise any of those guys were sent down to minor league camp. Vavra, I think he's probably the main one we'll see at some point during the year as well. Stroud, I think, definitely is going to be at Norfolk as well. So we're whittling it down really a little bit. I think next week we're going to go do our 26-man prediction video as well. I'm almost done. 26-man prediction video. We'll go ahead and go over that as well. So Orioles exploring roster additions, keeping tabs on Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, among others. I think they're looking at it. I think the Orioles are absolutely looking at Kyle Gibson and Lynn. Gibson, I think, makes all the sense in the world. He's already been here. They're very familiar with him. He was actually decent when he was here. So I definitely think that's a guy they're absolutely going to look at as well. Brian Baker, righty, stands as one of the most interesting out of options players as well. You're on camera. As one of the most interesting out of options players in spring training. Baker may make the team simply because they can't send him down. I think Baker's done nothing wrong anyway. I think definitely that's not a bad idea to have him there as well on your team as it is. And Felix Bautista is looking better in camp here. Let's get that graphic up there. Felix Bautista had more velocity in his last spring training game. So Bautista was about at 100 miles an hour in his last game. So there's a question, though. I mean, he's been there's a question whether they're going to start him at the beginning of the year. This shouldn't be. I think I've said it every week. This shouldn't be a question at this point. It's been 16 months since he's had surgery. But he has pitched well, and I think they're a little less worried about it as well. But it is a possibility they still may slow walk him. Go ahead and do that. I don't know if he's even going to be the closer out the gate. So we'll see about that. Orioles 8-9 in spring training as well. So not as well as far as the rate, not as well in spring training as well this year. Had to overcome a lot. They have a lot of injuries. Gunnar Henderson, I don't think you're going to have him at the start. I didn't have any particular news on Gunnar because he really hasn't played in spring training games a lot here as well. So I think also with Gunnar, you're probably going to start the season with him on the injured list. We'll see.